February 19th. Community meeting of the Recreation Trails Committee. And our roll call, we call the meeting to order at 8:32. Roll call. We have Matt is on. Okay, Shay is there. Good. Jeff is out today. Chris is here. Tim is here. John is here. Elliot is not present. Josh is not present. James is present. Jackie, Patrick, and Jenna are out. No community members in attendance today. Any announcements? Okay. No comments, community questions today either, so let's move on to approval of the January 22nd minutes. Any comments or changes on those minutes? Got an affirmation from Chris.
Approved.
All right, so by consensus, we're approving the minutes from the January 22nd meeting.
Have to vote, do we?
No, we're not gonna vote on that. We have 100% agreement, correct?
Correct.
Minutes are approved
Yes.
for distribution. Okay, on our agenda today, make sure we're all on the same page and agree to our agenda. James, you can come up here to the lovely, council committee seating. I had 4 reports on there. One, well, we just got a review, Frank Young Trail Line discussions with the resort. Village manager, he just gave a quick briefing on that. We asked for Recreation Community Services proposed budget from Councilor Weeks to work with Shay on that. And a third report is Enchanted Circle Trails Alliance Agreement Progress Report from Shay. And any updates from Trail Salsa from John. I think the Trail Salsa will be a regular update every month.
Yes, and our first meeting is the 24th of.
Okay, well, don't talk about it now. It's on the agenda.
Okay.
Come on. All right. That's our reports we have. And then the second item on the agenda is to review edits and changes to the charter and adopt a new version today of the charter. Item 3 is to review the draft annual report. Chris is lead on that, and we'll adopt that today and forward to the manager and council. And then item 4 is to review the sports park proposal and preparation for council presentation, and look at the elements of that agreement and what's the strategy for council presentation. And then item 5 is to review and complete our work plan for the year. And of course, item 6 is our wrap up. Any changes to their agenda?
One of the things that has probably dropped off our radar, but when I was reviewing last year for the annual report, was this idea of memorials along trails.
Yes, they're gonna, I've been thinking about that one too, so we'll add that back when we come to that topic on the work plan, unfinished projects. So keep that one good. Okay, anything else? Agenda approved, accepted? All right. So item 1, report Frank Young Trail Alignment discussion with the resort manager just reported just before the meeting started that Mr. Allen and Brett and probably the mayor and others did have an hour-long meeting about the Frank Young extension and about the potential property purchase for the affordable housing elements. The meeting went favorable. There still has been no decision made by the resort, yet the mayor has a meeting with the resort today, this afternoon. We may know more today.
Great.
So Mr. Allen, was engaged in the conversation and, was intrigued, and maybe, I guess the negotiations, I'll say, are ongoing on how everyone benefits from this, purchase and alignment. Okay, item B, Jeff can't be here. So, earlier, Shay, we were asking if we could, get a sense of, your proposed budget for the upcoming year, and if any way that the committee can support that budget or help you add to it or advocate for additional elements of that budget. So can you give us a sense of where you're headed with your recreation community services budget for upcoming fiscal year?
Yeah, actually right now we're working on it. So I don't really have anything to show yet, but actually by tomorrow I'm working with one of the finance people, and tomorrow I'm supposed to give her what I'm proposing and what I'm needing, and then we kind of go from there. But I spoke with Julie yesterday in regard to, what might be needed for the budget. And at Allen Fields, we're needing to get money for the concessions and the restrooms. So I'm going to add that in there and see where we go with that. And we're still applying for grants and such, but because we did not get them, that's going to be added somewhere in my budget, but it's a work in progress. The community center, I'm always trying to add floors, new floors into my budget for that. And then the trails, continue work on, I'm going to put about the same that I put this year for next year. And then hopefully we can get another grant also. So it's a work in progress, but that's what I'm looking at.
When you mentioned
So-
trails, was that trails maintenance or trails?
The new trail, and then along with the new trail, maintenance. Yes, I mean we have a maintenance department, but I also am looking into having maybe like the youth corps or somebody do a regular maintenance on it, and our current trails also, just fix them up a bit. So that's something I'm also looking at in regard to trails.
For the Frank Young extension, since we have that grant, so are you budgeting additional monies for that to accomplish the trail extension, or do you have to get the matching funds that we have to have for the grant? Does that have to be reapproved for the budget? Or
Yeah,
or has that already been taken care of, the matching part?
I'll have to include that again in the budget. Yeah, the matching part. And then I always try to kind of figure for other grants also to have a little bit of a matching padding in case we get them. So yeah, but yeah, I'll have to add that to the budget for the matching part again.
And so for the concessions and restrooms at Allen Fields, are you going to try to budget to complete those? Given that maybe we don't get a grant, or are you going to only budget a matching part that would go along with a grant?
I'm going to
accomplish
try
that.
to budget, being that we don't get a grant.
So that village should just go ahead and proceed and get those done, even if we don't get a grant.
That's my plan. Yeah.
Okay.
So a couple other questions, Shay, if I may. One is, the idea of having a design workshop for Allen Fields to kind of relook at that master plan and look at other amenities, facilities out there. And potentially using consensus planning for that project. Is that something you need to include in your budget, or would that come out of a council slush fund?
Well, yeah, I'd have to. I'd probably have to, include that in my budget. because it's, when we take it to council, they like to see that it's budgeted for.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, lights, just an update really quick, because that kind of goes with the budget too. We were in the process of doing an RFP for lights, for the approval at the next council meeting. However, I don't know if that's gonna have to happen now, because I just saw an email before this meeting, and the company we've been waiting to get a quote from, finally got us a quote. And they are with the state. They have a contract with the state. So I haven't had a chance to look at any of that, but that's underway, and we're hoping to get started in the spring with lights out at the fields.
Okay, so, back on the Allen Fields Design Master Plan concept, and I think, hopefully we can have consensus around having a design workshop for that. Could you, reach out to Santos and perhaps he could talk to Consensus and get a ballpark on, what a small workshop might cost? I think it'd be I think it'd probably be a site visit, be looking at the old master plans, and then having a, kind of a similar workshop we did like on Mountain View Plaza last year with the Consensus to get a sense of what that's like.
Okay.
So,
And I do have a PO open right now with Consensus, that Brett actually initiated. And I know that Allen Fields is included in that. I
good.
don't know the whole, like I said, Brett got that going, and I'm not sure what the whole plan is with that, but I do know that we do have an open PO with Consensus in regard to Allen Fields and the trail and such. So.
Okay. So I will, maybe after this meeting, I'll go back. I've got a comp plan meeting after this one, but, I will put together a kind of a quick scope of work, what I think a design workshop should have for Allen Fields with Consensus. And that you can talk to Ken about that and see where that number looks like to add in your budget. That might be useful for this year, because that ties in with the skate park proposal. It ties in with the horseshoe pits that people want there. And all these little pieces of the puzzle are out there, but there's not one, we don't have all the pieces in one place.
Yeah, no, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay,
Speaking of the skate park, I know the proposal talks about the village contributing a concrete pad. Is that something that needs to be budgeted, or are you up on that, Shay? Or do we wait until we actually
I'll have to ask if they want that to be in my budget, or it may be maybe in a public works budget. I'll have to see where they, which one of us needs to budget for that.
okay, that was my second question. Thanks, Chris. That's exactly what I was thinking too, is that the village contributions of the skate park to the match. While there's no numbers in the proposal for that, it should be incorporated to be at least start the conversation. And hopefully by the end of this meeting, we'll have the okay to take that proposal forward to council, and that's a strategy for today to do that.
Okay.
Okay. So do we need to help you does the committee need to help you advocate for any budget issues? Do we need a memo supporting anything to give you a stronger standing for your budget? Can we help in that way?
Well, possibly, but right now, no, because we're just at the very beginning, and pretty much what I do is say what I want, and then we go from there. And it's I'm told yes or no to certain things. So this is the very beginning phase, but after I see my want list and need list get trickled down, then that may be something that the committee could help with.
Okay. And so what's the budget process? When is the final approved or submitted? I know it goes to the state too, to get the.
Yeah, it
but-
goes to the state, and I don't know all the dates for sure. I just go by what finance tells me when I need to get my stuff to them.
Okay.
But our fiscal year starts on July 1st.
Right. Okay. So basically, second half of April, second half of March, April, are really the greedy months of working out numbers and advocating for projects and dollars.
Correct, yeah.
I know you spent a lot of money at the community center. Is there a budget for the new flooring for next year?
Well, I'm gonna try to put that in my budget. Yeah, so,
Okay, because the pickleball group basically had a donation for flooring, but there was some confusion with the how it was wanted to be presented, like a 501c3. So I don't know if that's ever gonna happen, but I know you spent a lot of money with the heating systems out there, and the flooring needs to be worked
Yeah.
on.
yeah, I had the unexpected problems out there that did take, some of the money. So, I'm hoping to get flooring, put it in my budget. And then also, again, I know that we're really gonna try to, get some grants again too for that. So,
Kind of speaks to the need for a recreation and trails gift catalog. So for people who you have stupid money and want to spend stupid money on cool projects, pickleball, flooring, or using it for more trail related amenities, or to pay for the horseshoe pits. I think if we had a nice gift catalog, you could probably get almost everything at Allen Fields done. And through recreation and trails by having a gift catalog, because people, oh, that's cool, I want to do that. My grandkids always are in their pump track in their little town, and if we could do the pump track here, I'd put money towards that because they're here all summer. Those kind of stories out there, and I think, we ought to think about it, helping develop a gift catalog. Maybe that could be another
Absolutely.
agenda for us.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you for that report, Shay, appreciate that. You're on now for an update on the contract and progress on that.
It's signed, and the effective date, the day that it was signed is when the year contract starts, and I can't remember what day we signed it, or Brett signed it. I think it might have been the 12th. But anyway, that's signed and there's a PO open, so that's all taken care of.
Okay, so then as that moves forward, will you be the point of contact to, with ECTA, or will you designate someone from the community to be point of contact, or will it be John, since he's part of it's separate but related with the Trail Salsa group? So as we think about the things we want ECTA to work on, what are the roles for this committee versus the village? And then how John fits into that part of the puzzle.
Well, John and I actually had emailed with Lauren back and forth because there was some confusion with getting the contract to us, and that seemed to work pretty good. So, if John wants to be the main contact with Lauren with the Trail Salsa and everything, and then I can work with him, and then we can include the committee. I think that works good.
Hey, John, would you want to be the point of contact?
Yes, I have no problem with that. I've been working with Lauren for the last couple of years with the Adopt a Trail program and
Okay,
understand their organizations, work with Muggsy and Courtney and everybody.
okay, so committee members on the table for our agreement consensus is that as the ECTA agreement moves forward and we look at the adaptive trail elements and looking at Wukudu and Ho Chi Minh as Forest Service designate trails, as those projects move forward with ECTA, John will be our key point of contact to work through ECTA and the village. That seem acceptable to everyone in the committee? I got an okay from Chris.
Yes,
I-
good with me.
It's good with me, but I think we should also add, maybe even in front of the Ho Chi Minh and Whoop-de-Doo designation is control of the motorized vehicle traffic on Elliott Barker. It's become a huge problem, and we have not, even though we keep mentioning it to ECTA and to the Forest Service, nothing is really getting done, and that trail is just getting torn up bad, and it's a shame. Amount of motorized vehicle traffic up on the Elliott Barker Trail and in the forest area, or up in there on some of the other non-motorized old forest roads is just tremendous. And I think everybody and a lot of people in Angel Fire have the impression that those are motorized trails up there. So to get some kind of fencing and signage and stuff like that, I think ought to be almost a number one issue with ECTA.
And Tim, you know, we talked about the legal access into the Forest Service, because the 3 access points are actually, across private property on one of them, and the other one is, you know, through the, I guess the power lines area, which I'm not sure if that's legal either, so.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Power Lines is actually private property with Kit Carson easement across it, and that's what they're using to go up there. But
And then the other one up there in Sunset Ridge, that goes up to the water tower, but past that, maybe some private property also.
Okay, so the message there is, as we start looking at what projects ECTA is going to support our committee with and the village. Number one coming from Tim is to look at, the motorized traffic on Elliott Barker. And then we also, we're adding adaptive assessments on the village trails and resort, hopefully, and also looking at that access issues, another 2. Those are the 3 big things we think we want immediate support from ECTA on, plus all the other ideas that were in the contract or the agreement. Is that right?
yeah, I think so.
Right.
Sounds good.
And if we were having trouble, maybe if maybe the committee through the village needs to send, you know, something, correspondence to the Forest Service directly, you know, from local government to, that we need some support on this. Rather than just voices from nonprofit, but it's coming from the, maybe all the Enchanted Circle members
Yeah.
can do something.
I mean, they're allowing me to go straight to the district ranger, Luhan. So I can communicate with him some of the issues we're having and come up with a plan
Okay.
to help with that.
That'd be wonderful. Okay. All right. Third item on the reporting today, or the 4th item, sorry, it's Trail Salsa. And we can kind of cover that, but anything up, their first meeting's coming up.
It's coming Tuesday,
Okay.
4 to 6, location to be determined, so they better hurry up. But we're gonna set expectations, set up the structure. Each representative will come up with their ideas as far as, local communities, what we're working on, what we hope to accomplish. And, move on from there.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, item 2, the revised charter from Chris.
Yes. By the way, it's SEN, not SON. For those that,
Thank you.
Oh, right.
Well, I've got it out there, and the charter, and it's been put up on the OneDrive by Attila, with his edits. So any event, I don't know if anybody has any comments. There was some discussion about James's title, but I had talked to James earlier in the week, and he met, or last week, well, before we left, and he mentioned that I guess you've heard from Manager Weir that you are ex officio committee member.
Yes. Yes. I find that to be correct.
So
I believe the reason that occurred is because James was appointed late in the fall to the committee or sometime around then. At that point, there wasn't any restrictions against having a village employee serve on a committee. Yet the new rules came into place, which basically prohibit a village employee from serving on one of the committees
As a voting.
as a voting member, which I think if you're in public works and you're serving in recreation, there's no conflict of interest. I don't see the issue with that, but his input's still valuable as ex officio. So I think rather than removing him from the committee, which we find his recreational interest really important, the best option was to make it ex officio. We can participate but not have a vote on those issues that might affect village budget or otherwise. I think there was a conflict of interest is the concern. So ex officio, I think, works.
Yeah,
Keep them on that.
yeah, I'm fine with that as long as I am able to be here and contribute a little bit of my expert
Yes.
opinion on skate park issues.
Skate park and anything else recreational.
Yeah.
Okay. Other comments on the revised charter? Tim, you had something you brought up.
I'm still concerned on, or confused maybe on the decision-making process. I kind of took it from our last meeting that they said we could still kind of shoot for a consensus agreement on things, but I kind of thought the way I interpreted it was at the end of the day, we still had to do this roll call voting and to follow the village rules, it would still, come down to majority rule and on a roll call vote, and that the chairman would only vote in the event of tie. So I don't know if we've got that exactly reconciled in the charter versus the village rules. I'd hope we could keep the decision making as simple as possible, but still be in compliance with the village rules. So I don't know what, maybe I misinterpreted something from the last meeting. But that's I guess my concern.
Well, Tim, I know that what you heard from Manager Weir is more or less what you just repeated. But when I was going through the actual ordinance, it didn't seem to be that clear. So I didn't really try to put all that into because it didn't really ever say what he was mentioning.
Well, I mean, what I'm reading, it says the vote of a majority, this is from the village rules, a vote of the majority of the members present and voting at a meeting at which there's a quorum shall constitute the action of the committee. And then it's got rules of voting, and it says each member in attendance must vote for or against all measures. Unless there's a conflict of interest, then you can abstain, but you can only abstain if there's a conflict of interest. You can't just say, I'm not voting, because we kind of had in our charter, we got this terminology called a stand aside, which means a person doesn't block the vote from moving forward, but simply stands aside to register their lack of full agreement. That's what we say in our charter, but it seems in the rules, you got three choices. You got yay, you got nay, and I abstain because I have a conflict of interest. And then they talk about, except for procedural matters, voting shall be by roll call. Roll call votes shall be at random. Which means, I guess, the random roll call is you don't always go in the same order of voting, so that, you don't always, like if someone's always the last one to vote, I guess the theory there is they may feel pressured to vote with how the vote's gone up to that point. Whereas if you do a random, then maybe somebody that's would vote no, say, maybe be more willing to vote no if not everybody else has already voted yes. So I guess that's just my concern. I still don't know if we've got the charter reconciled.
What struck me the most was that they wanted a record of how people voted for the public record. And it's my position, and maybe it's all of our positions, that anything that we're voting on or making a decision on, if it's moving forward as a recommended ordinance or something that we want to present to council, that we want to have 100% consensus among our committee to move that forward to council, which tells me and tells council that it's a pretty strong statement that there's a consensus from this committee to move this forward, versus a 3 people committee and 2 vote yes and 1 vote no. What is that? That doesn't tell you much. So our procedure, I think, is more in line with showing council that there is a large segment of the community, if we represent a community, that are in support of getting a skate park proposal forward for action from council or whatever the topic is. And we can list in the decision, if we're sending forward to council this, that we can list that each member voted in favor of moving this proposal forward without going through that. So it does show that here's how we are voting on that. The reason, I'll bring this up again, is I feel the consensus gives everyone a voice. So if someone's stuck on something in the proposal that's just not right to them, we're gonna try to address that the best we can to get that person on board. And if we still can't do it, then we can say, well, we have 1 vote against, the rest are 4, but we're still moving forward, and that person's not gonna fight us on it.
Okay.
But they have to say, we're not disenfranchising them from the conversation.
Right. But do we need to do a roll call vote for anything we're going to approve that's going to go forward to the council? Do we need to go through and, instead of just say, is everyone in agreement? We all say, yeah. Is that good enough? Or do we need to say, okay, let's go down the list and say, how do you vote? And let's say we do have, it's unanimous, everyone votes yes, but then we've got a record of that. But let's say we have I think we've got 7 voting members and it's 4 versus 3. I mean, can the committee say, can we make a decision that since it was 4 versus 3 and we really don't want to proceed with stuff unless we have pretty much a consensus, that we would not then take that forward as a recommendation to the council? If we're split close to 50-50 on a vote, which wouldn't be consensus, that we say, okay, well, we're not going to move forward on it because we couldn't come to consensus.
So there's two questions in there. One was on things we're gonna take that we want to have the village act on, whether it's presentation to council or a budget or a contract or whatever the topic is, shall we do a roll call on those items? And the second question is, if we do the roll call, it's made a related question, actually, Tim, thank you. If we do a related question is that we get a 4-3 split on that, what do we do with it? Is that right? Is that? the two
Yeah,
questions?
yeah.
Okay. Thoughts from you guys?
Well, my thinking is that, when we call for approval and everyone just kind of thumbs up or says yes or whatever, that's a form of roll call. I mean, we're not calling out individual names or anything like that, but that to me I guess I was taking a loose translation of the ordinance and just saying that what we've been doing all along is a roll call, because how do we know that we have consensus if we didn't really ask, does everyone approve? And
Yes.
we never see any negatives, so the assumption is that everyone has approved.
See, I thought at the last meeting when we explained that, Jeff said he didn't think that really did meet the spirit of the roll call, and that someone that maybe would vote no is going to be hesitant to not go along with, is everybody in agreement and we all kind of give thumbs up. In the city regulations, it talks about when the voting is taken under roll call, you cannot explain your vote. So, or I don't think you can be required to explain your vote. So if someone, if the discussion is going and it's very positive, it seems like everybody wants to do it. If someone really is against it, but they don't want to articulate their position, when it comes down to the roll call vote, they can just vote no and not give an explanation, or they're not even permitted really to give an explanation. So I mean, if we think we can just get along with the way we've been doing it and say, is everybody in favor? And we can imply that was a roll call vote and everybody voted yes. I mean, that makes it easier on me trying to record it in the minutes and everything. But I just want to make sure we think we're meeting the spirit of what is in these new village regulations.
And my understanding is these things are recorded and published, so I think what I understood Manager Ware saying that he wanted to actually hear me say yes and no.
See that? Yeah, that's the
So-
way I interpret it from the last meeting, that they wanted an actual, person saying yay, nay, or abstain
Right.
because of conflict of interest.
We can go through our process of trying to determine which direction we want to go and come to a consensus at that point, but then after that, we still do a roll call, is my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we don't call for a roll call vote if it doesn't seem like there's in the discussion and there's a consensus that we're headed toward a consensus.
Like
If we got people voicing strong opinions for and other people voicing strong opinions against, and our mission is to come up with consensus, then why call for a roll call vote? And I guess it would be up to the chairman to decide if he wants to call for a vote or not.
I like that strategy, that chairman determines whether or not consensus agreement or roll call voting is necessary. So you know where I'm gonna go with that, but. Is that acceptable to everyone? And that, so and we can put this on decision making. In the decision making part of that is that on subject matter headed beyond our committee to council or the village leadership, from the committee, asking for an action from them. Chairman can decide whether, consensus voting or roll call is deemed appropriate.
Well, I like most of that, except the exception where we'll decide if consensus or roll call. We'll decide the action. I think it should be more something to, if the chairman believes the committee is close to consensus or is headed toward consensus, we'll then decide if we're going to have a roll call vote. But I mean, it seems like to me we can only approve the action if we have a roll call vote. But I could see where, like, if we're very split in our discussion, that the chairman just says, I don't think we've got a consensus here to move forward, so we're not even going to bring it up for vote. But I don't think we can say,
Okay,
on
I
this,
hear you.
on this matter, we'll take a consensus, we'll have like a consensus type vote, and then on other matters where maybe we think maybe we've got some negatives, that we'll take a roll call vote. I would think, if it sounds like we're headed towards consensus, or the feeling is that we've got consensus, to then document that, the chairman calls for roll call vote. And then, let's say it seemed like we were at consensus and we do the roll call vote. You would think most time it's going to be unanimous approval, but just say for some odd reason, the vote comes out split 4-3. Then I don't know if the chairman has the ability to say even though we thought consensus, it looks like we don't. So we have a revote. I mean, that may not be appropriate, I guess, because if the majority approved it, I guess I don't know if the chairman can override that or not, but
Matt, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I see exactly where Tim is going with, and I think that trying to capture the spirit of what the council is trying to push us to. I really wish that we could just go back to the old ways, because I thought that was a very effective way of doing things, but it seems like that's not an option. So I guess we try to blend the two as best we can. We keep the discussion like we have, try to get consensus, and then once we reach that point, we just move forward with a quick roll call vote. And I think what Tim's saying is that if we through the course of our discussions, it seems like we can't put forward a consensus recommendation to council, then we just table it for the next meeting and try to reach consensus. Is that correct?
yeah, I think that sounds like yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it's kind of, I don't know. I really do like the way that we have been doing it. I think that our old way franchises people more than the other. And I think that the Roberts rules tends to disenfranchise people. But, the powers that be have spoken. So I guess it's our job as this committee to best adhere to it.
So I could live with, if we get verbal agreement on moving something forward, I can then do an official roll call on that one thing moving forward. Just do a roll call on it. But first, we're still attempting 100% consensus to move something forward. So if we get that, and if I sense that there's still issues, people have a problem with something, it's not right, we haven't got there yet, we still got to do some more conversation around it and some negotiation and mediation around the topic that comes at, we're not going to move that forward until we get close to that consensus, and then we'll do an official roll call on it. Can we capture something like that?
I think that's a good way to go about it.
And I think I think it'd be good if we could reserve that kind of formal process to just the things we want to move forward to council that I think as much as we consider to be procedural, like approval of the minutes, approval of the agenda, appointing John to be the representative for Trail Salsa, those kind of things that we've decided on today can still be done like we've always done. Just like, is everybody in agreement? Yeah, we go forward. I would think that we would be in the spirit of the village regulations if we could consider most things we act on procedural, and we don't have that many things we approve to go forward to council or to village representatives that would move things along, and I think we'd still be in the spirit of the regulation.
That's well stated. So procedural topics are agreement. And then decision topics to council are agreement plus a roll call.
Right.
Are you comfortable writing that into the decision-making section, Tim? Since you're the one that's.
You want me to? Sure. I could draft up something and send it to you, and then you can
Okay,
drop it in there in the charter decision part in the charter.
okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, so action item, Tim's gonna revise the charter with our decision-making, 2 items, just talk procedural topics, agreement, decision topics, and how we do that. All right.
Okay.
Anything else on the charter for today?
So we submit that to the council, the charter, when we complete it?
I think we ought to.
Okay. So
It
they
could
could
be-
actually push back on
Yeah,
that.
it could be some pushback, but we'll see.
Okay.
And we'll submit it to council through Jeff and Shay. They can do what they want. And once we get a revision of this, and we reach consensus on the charter, then I can do a memo to Shay, to Jeff on the revised charter.
In our position,
Yeah,
so they can sell our position.
Yeah.
Okay.
So will we adopt this charter? Are we going to adopt it today, or do we'll probably need to see the revision for the decision making?
Let's do a revision, and if we can get email consensus on the charter, then I can, get this forwarded to council and to our council liaison and to Shay before the next meeting, and we can have feedback on it by the next meeting if need be.
Okay.
So, Tim, if you can give me or give the committee the write-up within the next day or so, then we could move this on.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
That'd be great.
That'll work.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get Matt back in the meeting. He just got kicked out.
Oh. He didn't drop off?
No, he got dropped off.
Technical.
I don't even see him on it right now. Let's see.
And we start working.
Go ahead and start the next comment. Let me go get Rocky, see if we can find out where Matt is on this. Can you
Okay,
find it? Yeah. Okay, so the second topic, is the annual report. Draft shared, Chris covered that real quick. Maybe we can adopt that today. Get on the state park thing in a second.
I'm sorry, what was it about the skate park?
I don't know, he walked out.
Oh, okay. Well, the annual report does cover our recommendation to be made for the skate park. Right. Bike and skate park, I think is what we're calling it. Bike slash skate park. Or skate slash bike park, yeah.
But and then King, get back on it.
And I don't know whether there's still a requirement by the village, you know, the document that all of the voting members are, well, actually, I guess we got to take James off, but any event, the voting members are, you know, we have their address and phone numbers and that kind of stuff. Do you think we still need to do that this year? Does anyone know?
I think it's kind of useful to have it at least one central place. I think Ileana would appreciate having that information on who's current on the committee. Question for us is, do we look for replacements for Jackie and Jenna if they're unable to participate? I think Jackie had conflict meeting times for something else that's a more higher priority for her. But I haven't heard.
Is she the school?
Jackie's, after,
Oh, yeah.
Jenna's the school rep.
Best
No,
listening.
Billingsley.
Yeah, you may be correct there about the meeting times. I think the issue with Jenna was until we really get approval from the resort, there's really nothing for the school to do on a lot of the stuff. I mean, that's kind of the story of our whole committee. That until we get that, a lot of things aren't going to be able to move forward. We can't move forward on the bike or skate park or the Frank Young Trail extension or much of anything else. So, I mean, there are other things we work on, obviously e-bikes and signage and maps and stuff, but even maps still require the resort participation because they're the ones that create it.
So Shay, is it important to have a Moreno Valley Preparatory School rep on the committee since they use the facilities at Allen Fields?
I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it's a necessity, but I think it's a good idea if there's someone from there that wants to serve on the committee.
Could we change it from a committee representative to a point of contact? Where if we feel like we're getting to a point where we need input from the high school, then we could contact whoever the person is and say like Jenna would be logically that person at this point in time. You know, not with expectations to come to our meetings on any kind of regular or irregular basis, but if we need input from the high school because we're doing something that affects the high school, that we get input from that person, and it doesn't have to even be at the meeting, but it could be outside of our meeting time to let them know we're addressing this issue. Do they want to provide us with any kind of information or input, or possibly come to the meeting or meet with somebody outside of the meeting time? Just so we make sure we're incorporating their input.
I think that would work since, you know, we're not having a lot of luck with a high school rep being able to attend the meetings anyway.
It is during the school day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll ever get somebody from the school to be a committee representative where they'd be able to attend the meetings, you know, unless we changed our meeting times to the evening or something like that.
Well, summertime, she was able to participate with the, but yeah. During the school year, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, some in the lobby.
I mean, depending on what we're talking about, we could have a couple.
Thank you.
Subject matter experts that come in and like skate park or Allen Fields or something like that, would have somebody come in and lend their expertise in that area. Snap that home.
That's back on.
Yeah, I'm back in. Sorry about that.
So the recommendation was that, this goes back to the charter too, maybe it's that the school should have a point of contact listed for us to to deal with on Allen Fields topics or Frank Young Trail or anything else related to recreation activities should be a point of contact, but not necessarily a committee member at this point.
Guess that's, and the effect of that is just removing them from our group email.
Or should they be still, yeah,
They wouldn't be subject to the rules of the committee then, would they? As far as,
Point of contact, correct.
right.
Okay. But we recognize it's an important contribution to the
Absolutely.
overall mission and what we're doing. Are they voting members? No.
No.
Okay.
I mean, the other option is just to leave her as a rep. I mean, the high school rep's a non-voting member, so it doesn't affect trying to meet quorum or voting and just, I mean, it's a representative. And I guess if we felt like we were getting to a point where we needed the high school input is, see if she can come to the meeting. And if not, say, well, here's what we're trying to do or decide upon. Do you have any input you want to provide to one of the committee members outside of our regularly scheduled meeting? And just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
She made a similar comment about getting some of the high school staff to help with the extension, but kind of similar to the skate park. Didn't want to really engage folks until it was really ready for construction, which we haven't never got to yet.
And when we did ask her to engage, she gave us that really good survey data from the school on who would use the trail and how it would be used 2 years ago. So when asked to do something, she jumped right onto it and got it done. Yeah, I think we just leave her on there and then Jackie as well. And if Jackie has to, I think if we're talking about topics that relate to the resort, like if it's signage on the trails, that need APO support, we'll just have to make sure we engage Jackie better on topics that relate to the resort. And either Matt or I would take that responsibility to coordinate with those two to make sure that we have their voices and concerns documented.
Okay.
Other topics, anything else on the report?
Well, I'm thinking that maybe we don't highlight the consensus member and just call it community member, since that's what we're kind of calling everyone.
Okay,
So I'll make that change. And James, because you are a community member, even though ex officio, if you want to provide your details, that'd be great.
okay. I know your email, I gave the email to, but I think you have any phone number. I don't think we had that, so. And if the same thing on this, if people can look over, if Chris sends the email out or the annual report out, if everyone action is to review it. And send back Chris your acceptance that or the report meets, you've reviewed it. We can get that delivered to council and to the village manager and get it off our plate.
Sounds good, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get a revision out, by the weekend.
Okay, and let's say by next week, we do a quick review of that and let's get it out of here. So action is Chris to revise. All committee members review and approve. Okay, thanks for hanging with us, Oliver. So next topic for us, I believe, if there's no other business on the annual reports, action sports. Our proposal, review the elements, reach agreement, and we want to move this forward to council. So Oliver, I appreciate you hanging with us. It's too cold to be outside working.
Yeah, nice and cozy, okay, it's fine.
All right, so the proposal you put forth in January, the key thing I want to read real quick, it says that this is a draft proposal and will be amended, negotiated before a final version is agreed upon. So, the Overground Action Sports LLC recognizes that there's a lot of conversation still to be had in this idea, but what we're looking for from the committee today is to say that this approach is reasonable. And that we should say, we're gonna say, yes, we want to move this forward and present it to council so it can be potentially put into the budget this year. And have the real live conversation started on advancing a skate park proposal for the village. Okay. So, I'm gonna summarize a few things and then see if there's questions from the committee for you, and I've got some as well. So the key things is that Overground Action Sports is willing to contribute $200,000 approximately for competition bowl ramp, street skate park elements, concrete ones and wooden skate park elements as well, plus a covered stage. And then also sculpture trails and pump tracks, so that's a little separate part of that, but the key is that there's a $200,000 donation of labor and materials, not including the trail work, to do this. And then the contract says that the Overground Group gets to a 3-year exclusive contract to lead development and construction of all aspects of the sports park. Has a right to all the skate bike competition programming that's going to take place, which is really critical in my mind to do that. And to the right to develop concessions to organize food trucks or other facilities at the skate park are the key parts of what would come out of this agreement. Advertising would be in cooperation with the village, and the skate park group would be responsible for maintenance and development, taking that burden away from the village. And the OAS would organize volunteers to help run programming. And the village in this agreement would agree to construct a 200 by 100 foot concrete slab, provide a shipping container for storage of materials and also as a backdrop potentially for the stage. Utility connections and material for walking the bike trails, and annual contribution of 15 grand to cover running cost, events, maintenance, security, etc. So, questions for Oliver on the proposal from committee members?
So we still don't know if the resort is going to convey the lagoon back to the village. And
As of yet, we may know more this afternoon.
we may know more, but right now the proposal is based on putting it in the lagoon. Is that correct?
Not specifically.
This one is just, I think we haven't, this one does not determine a final location.
Okay.
We as a committee recommended that we pursue this lagoon as a priority location. But potentially the dog park location could be a secondary location pending, replacement of the dog park.
Okay.
I think we
So,
had like 2 locations. So one was up pretty close to the road, so you can see it from the road and have visibility.
so the thought is to go ahead and move the proposal forward with location pending.
To be determined.
Yeah, to be determined.
When will you guys be able to determine that location? Before I had been moved to ex officio, I had talked to Brett Weir, and I kind of suggested, if there was difficulties within, acquiring the lagoon with the resort and with it, maybe potential environmental surveys that could be extensive. I had suggested if the village has property that's much easier to move on to than the lagoon, it was heavily suggested by myself and perhaps Oliver, and hopefully, if you guys agree on it, to acquire the village property and bypass longevity and acquiring the lagoon. And that was just a small discussion I had with Brett Weir before I was moved to ex officio, and that would be something I would suggest that you guys would consider to speed up a potential slab process for the summertime. Because if we don't, I worry that the longevity of getting a slab required would cause some slow movement in that process, and we don't want that. We want to try to move as quickly as possible to find the correct location, and then that way. I really like Oliver's proposal, and then that way that you guys can decide on the location as quick as possible, and then hopefully Oliver can take his proposal to the council after the decision is made for the location.
That's why I like the location up by the road, because
Me
there's so
too.
much dirt work
Yeah.
as far as has to be done, and
Right,
then we have the resort has to give the property back to us.
and the lagoon is super like a tempting place. It's very cool visually, and you can imagine like, oh, we can do a lot with this, and it's a lot of space to do with. I just think that acquiring that potential location can cause some delays, and I don't want to see very many delays, especially in the next 2 or 3 years, and then a new administration comes in, and then it gets tabled for longer. And me and Oliver don't want to see that. And I do like that location at the closer to the road. It is a smaller location, but we don't need a huge size skate park, especially for this community. We need just something that's doable, 50 by 100 or something like that. I'm not sure. I think, was that on the proposal?
We have 100 by 200.
100 by 200. 50 by 100, 150 by whatever is able to fit in there, and that's maybe within the village or recreation budget, or however you guys acquire those funds. But I think the location, if the village has property and a location, and they are able to say yes much easier and faster than potentially trying to acquire that lagoon. But that's my thoughts.
I I think we own that property there next to the road. I know they want to
Correct. And
put the road straight into the Allen Fields, and having that right there with the visibility, it would be, I think, ouch.
But for my part, either location could be equally good.
Yeah, but I mean,
The,
let's say the EPA comes in and says you can't use that lagoon.
But I hope that you guys can figure out the location decision sooner than later.
That's something that they're talking about along with the lots, as far as returning that property back to the village.
I think it's what I understand, it's a package of new access road, a big, welcome to Allen Field Sports Complex,
Right.
sign that is inviting coming into this complex, and it's all done and, the horseshoes, whatever, is all in there. So I think location is still determined. So the question I have though is, would be better to have this presented sooner than later to council to get them excited about it? And then that would force the issue to find the location for it, or think finding the location is more important than presenting to council? I think council might put pressure, if this goes well, council would put pressure, though, let's get this done. This is, got a huge contribution coming into this thing.
one, I don't, I sort of hesitate to say this, but there is somewhat of a time limit to me being able to do this. I've got a lot of materials and stuff that I can donate right now this year. If it turns out being next year, hopefully I can still do it, and I'll certainly make every attempt. I understand things take time. But it would be ideal if we could do this year, as far as the amount that I can donate and the time that I have and scheduling and everything else. I'm not saying we can't do it if it pushes out, but it really would be ideal, if possible, that we could start work this year.
So if they approve this year, even though we don't start until later on next year, it's still okay.
Yes,
As long as we approve the monies.
if we could start building this year, it would be
Okay.
highly preferable. But if it's approved and I know it's approved, then at least I've got a solid,
Right.
thing to plan for. So yes.
So you can actually start building the feature and storing them before the concrete slab
Yeah.
is put down, for example. Okay.
I think the number one priority in my mind for the project moving forward is location and slab. And if they're able to get the location and funding for the slab, everything else can be processed step by step in the next few years or so. But I think the main priority is we get the location, or we get the approval and get them excited, like you said, Attilia. And then they're able to say, hey, let's get this location, and say, okay, this is your guys' location now. And then we can go step by step, and that's a slab or materials that Oliver's building ramps with. And we're able to utilize that location because we usually do the festival every year. Well, this will be the 4th year of the festival. And if there's a location approval, then we don't have to do it in the previous location over here at the new complex. What is it called? The Mountain View Plaza. And the potential new site could be at the future location of a skate park here. And then they could say, okay, here's you have the festival here, you have the location, and now we can kind of work step by step to go into the next.
If we had a location as well, but we didn't have the slab this year, there is a potential that we could build some of the stuff without a slab.
Right.
So the bowl, for instance, could stand on piers.
Okay.
Right.
It would be much easier if it was on slab, but
Yeah, and he's had to put his half pipe on the ground right over here at the Mountain View Plaza. And so if there was a location that he was able to put it on, he could put cinders under it, cinder blocks, and stuff like that to maintain a level surface on the ramp. But I think the important part is having that location to be able to do that and not have to interfere with maybe other events, that happen at Mountain View Plaza, because I remember, Oliver mentioning that, well, we had for a good duration of the summer, a temporary skate park, which was really cool. I think, was it from June to about August or September? But then he was like, okay, they're having a car show here. I'm gonna have to break it down this week because it needs to be removed for the car show. There wouldn't be a conflict of interest with any of the already set the plazas and stuff that the village already has if there was a set location for the skate park. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Did you get pushback from Visit Angel Fire Department of having it set up that long in the?
No, it was intended to be there that long.
Okay.
Right.
We had the skate lessons and classes and clinics before the skate festival for a few weeks.
Mhm.
And then I think after the skate festival, I can't remember what the next event was in the village, but we had basically had till the next event to break it down, and that's what we did. So
Right.
it was all.
Yeah, and I don't think there was any conflicts there. It was just, you kind of limit yourself, to maybe potentially having it up for longer periods of time, if needed, and if weather permitting too. It was kind of, we're kind of going off the weather, like, hey, is it gonna start raining? Is it gonna start snowing in this next few months?
Yeah, if we didn't have to move it, then we could do more waterproofed, more permanent structures as well.
Correct. Yeah.
We can just sit it out in any weather, so.
Right.
And the lagoon's kind of limited though, isn't it? I mean, it's just that one area. If you had a larger area for expansion. I mean, I was up in Durango and seen, of course, there's all cement, but that thing is huge. I mean, like 3 levels of it, and it probably would fill up the whole lagoon.
That area in the lagoon is actually huge.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it's big, but is that,
It would be more than enough.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean,
why.
even on expansion and doing other things?
Yeah, I really think so. I think it could be an absolutely ideal space as far as
Okay.
space is concerned. I do think that the area on top where it's visible from the road is a
Right,
huge deal, because to have a hidden skate park, you would have to really work to let people know it's there.
right.
But-
I think we own enough land there
Yeah,
for
yeah.
expansion if we want to.
So that, to me, that's the positive. The positive of the area up high by the soccer fields is the visibility, and that really would guarantee a lot of success. But the advantage of the lagoon is just the geography of it is impressive.
Mhm.
And would work really, really well for events, and there's plenty of space for the skate park, and it's dead flat. It's a nice surface to build on.
And that would be the name, Lagoon Skate Park.
Maybe. It's
Yeah, I just think that,
very unique, and that would.
Yeah, if you did, definitely.
I think the visibility from the road and the access to that land is just really important for hopefully moving forward with it.
Yeah, I would be equally happy either way, but.
I just hate to get excited on the lagoon and then all of a sudden they say we can't build there.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Because it's toxic.
Right, and that's what I'm worried about, the environmental, side of the, stuff, the surveys. The potential expensive dirt work that it would take to, because up on top, the village already owns it and it's a fairly flat surface, so the dirt work wouldn't be extensive or potentially more expensive.
So, got a time check, we got 10 minutes and I gotta roll because I've got to get home for another comp plan meeting call. On this, so we got 2 topics going on here. One is a proposal for what Overground Action Sports is proposing to do with the village's responsibility would be. My red flags on this is I would think that, with the idea of the stage, remember, I think, Visit Angel Fire might be concerned that you were trying to take stage time away from their other stage.
I would be surprised.
Yeah,
Just because it's such a different audience.
it is, but I think there might be, I don't think it's a big part of this
I'm happy to
proposal.
take it out. If anyone objected,
I don't think it's a big part of this proposal, but I think having a stage there for awards, you might call it an award stage.
Sure.
Maybe it's a small music thing, but trying to compete with what Visit Angel Fire doing might
I
get
guess,
a little pushback.
I guess part of the agreement we could make is that we would never have conflicting events on the same date, something like that.
Yeah,
And to be quite honest, I don't think the Blues Fest, all the things that the village do, none of those things are in any competition with any of the.
I agree. I'm just thinking of what I've heard from, they may have a little issue with that.
Well, it's no issue for us if we didn't do the stage.
I think you need to have a small stage for awards or recognition or, you know, if you're doing events, you have to have a stage to recognize or for the MC or the programming events to go on, so that's fine.
Did you have stage music, when you had it in Mountain View?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Okay. Shay, on what the village would agree to do, do you, any red flags for you real quick if this was presented to council as is?
You mentioned the stage, that is something that I've been brought up to me. Just don't have to call it a stage, call it a podium or something like that, you know, or, I mean, that could be worked around, but I do know that the whole calling it a stage has brought up some issues. Other than that, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it and read through it more and see if anything else pops out at me.
I think the big things that you would, your eyes would open up on is the annual contribution of 15 grand to help running cost events, general maintenance, security, safety signs and equipment, sanitation, utility charges. So, you know, kind of annual $15,000 management fee. And then the building that slab is gonna come out of the village budget somehow. I'm not sure what a 200 by 100 foot concrete slab would cost. And then providing a shipping container, which is like, what, $33,000, $4,000 for a shipping container for material storage. So those are the big ticket items on this that I think they're less than or equal to what is being donated to make this thing happen. So related to this is in the fall, I was hoping that the village could organize a trip to Pecurus Pueblo to go see their skate park, bike park facility. I know it's a little bit different, but I don't think I can organize that because I think you've got to talk government to government relations since yours is a sovereign nation. I think the village should see if we can get a site visit there. I think you should have some council members go. Some of the committee members go to get them excited about another facility where if Oliver has another facility in mind, that might work as well, but Pecurus is getting national recognition for what they accomplished last year.
Yeah.
I shared that with you guys the other day from the New Mexico Outdoor Rec Division and some other sources, so having a site visit out there organized by the village would be a really good, I think a really good idea to get people excited about what can be here in town. Is that on track or is that too off base?
I would agree.
Okay,
The only thing I would say is that personally, I think I would like to do a presentation to the council.
yeah,
And I'd like straight up just do it to them without any more delays, basically.
yep.
It would be really, really nice if we could get, for my planning, for my being able to donate this stuff, to get a concrete agreement as soon as possible would be the most beneficial for my organisation. I think going to see stuff and getting excited about it is a fantastic idea, but if we already know we want to do it, we already know it's generally a good idea. I'd really like to push, basically get things going.
And they already know that the skate festival has already been pretty successful the last 3 years.
I feel like we have reasonable proof of concept.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so does anyone have any outstanding issues with this proposal that should not be presented to council at this point from the committee?
I just, was consensus planning already had a spot laid out for this, did they not?
Not really. So the Allen Field, the problem with the Allen Fields thing is that, they did a master plan probably 20 years ago that showed the softball fields. But since then, it's been piecemeal. There's no logistical, long range, here's what Allen Fields is gonna be in the year 2030 or 2040. So that's why I'm proposing to tie this to an Allen Fields design workshop. So Shay has marching orders down the line that says, okay, phase one is to finish the other two softball fields, and then we've got the volleyball, and we've got this, and okay, this is going to the community center. So it's a longer vision of what we do. Where this fits in, I think, if the village, if the council decides we're gonna put it here, that's okay, you can work around that. But I think Allen Fields would work on that. So back on, are we okay with this as a proposal?
Yes.
So is this something we need to do the roll call vote on if it's gonna go to council? That we're endorsing Oliver to proceed with his presentation of his proposal to council, or is this still considered procedural?
I would think, at this point, we should do a vote on this, a roll call on this.
Yes.
So Matt is off connection again. He writes, just to clarify, my thoughts, we move forward with this proposal as a flat area by the ball fields for sake of visibility, clear ownership, and relation to facilities and existing infrastructure to create a cohesive park feel. Be hard to find someone or a company that is willing to donate so much time and effort and resources. If 15K from the village is not feasible, then what is the bare minimum needed to properly maintain the facilities, continue programming? And if that is a number, you might be able to break from a yearly donation event to fund the project.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right, so, let's just first, from the consensus perspective first is that, is everyone in the committee in agreement that the overground action proposed park proposal as drafted should be presented to council?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so we'll do a roll call.
A random?
Yeah, random roll call.
Yeah.
Let me look here. Really, it's, Chris. So your roll call voting, for or against moving the overground action sports park proposal, allowing our committee to present this to council with, Oliver.
4.
Tim,
4.
Matt, I think is a 4 if he's not back on. And then, John, 4. Okay. And I would be 4 as well, and Elliot is not on today. Okay, so, we have 100% consensus through roll call, and otherwise that this overground action sports proposal shall move forward to council. My action is I will, work with Jeff, Shay, and Ileana to get this on council agenda as soon as possible. And would you like a committee? Either Matt or I will be there, as a committee member and I'll do a memo and copy on the memo that we.
That's great. I'll put the proposal together and I can show it to whoever might
Okay.
be contacted first, and we make sure we're on the same page and.
And
So
that,
you want to do a presentation?
I was assuming,
Council?
yeah, I'd like to. That's the appropriate thing to do.
Sure, yeah.
and you'll be asking for an action from council, in the very, to commit the village to those parts of the contract.
Yes,
At
sir.
least the slab for the first,
Yes, sir.
okay. All right. So my action will be to work on that. All right, it is 10 o'clock. We didn't get to our, work plan for the year, unfortunately. So to table that a little bit longer, work on that next month, but we do want to add this pet memorial idea into it. So thinking about these projects for next year as we wrap up, for example, if we have a committee member that takes on the pet memorial project, I'd like to have us have a quick presentation about how these are done in other places. So we have a little more knowledge about them. So we can either do a PowerPoint presentation or whatever, a poster showing here's how other parks have done pet memorials or how that, they've done plaques to give us some more information on that. So all these projects, I'm hoping we can take on a topic a month. For example, e-bike policy. I'm still trying to find out if the resort will do a survey at the RV park about how people use e-bikes there to help us know more. So if that doesn't happen, then sometime we can't take e-bike on until the fall, as an example, after we get some data from the resort. So timing these things is important to figure out how they best fit into the parts of the puzzle. E-bike policy, we're collecting information. We'd like, whoever's taking share on that would share information on how other communities have done it. How some have class 1 and class 2 policies. So we have a base of knowledge before we're making decisions that are affecting our village. So hopefully all the committee members will be willing to take on chair one of these little projects that we move forward through the year. Okay, wrap up. If we could go and wrap up, what do we have? We had, sign tasks and actions.
So I've got down that I'm going to provide edits for the charter to Chris. Chris is going to make edits to the annual report and the charter based on the input I give him on the charter, and then email out those the revised charter and the revised annual report. Committee members then need to provide or signify their approval on the revised charter and annual report based on Chris's email. And Tilla's going to work to get the skate park proposal on the council agenda.
He was also going to prepare the forwarding letters for the charter and the annual report once
Yes.
council approval.
Okay.
So all committee has to review and approve via email or text the annual report and the charter revisions.
And then after it gets approved, then Attila, you're going to prepare some kind of cover.
Yeah, I'll do a
letter.
transmittal memo to Jeff and Shay. To Brett.
Okay.
Okay, any other actions that we missed?
That's it.
All right, topics for next meeting, I think we just want to really focus on, the work plan. Also reporting and anything else might come up through reporting. Work plan will take a little while, I think.
Is there a way that we can get, the committee can be made aware of how the meeting goes this afternoon, or do we have to wait? till-
Yes, I'll ask Brett to let me know.
Okay. That'd be great if we can.
Yep.
Otherwise, we have to wait a month until we meet again.
I'll do that. And then, next meeting, council update topics would be, charter revision, annual report agreement, and, action sports. And next meeting date and time. We had a March what? Same day in March, isn't it? March 19th, 8:30. I think it is, because February's got this 28 days, it's always the same.
Right. 19th is available for me.
Okay, March 19th, 8:30 AM. Okay. Anything else before we go to the cause? Then meeting is adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
guys,
y'all.
for listening. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cam. Thank you, Julie.
And,
Thank you.
Thanks, goodbye.
Thank you, Karen.
yeah, you're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
However,
Absolutely.
yes, get your roll in there.
Yes.
Oh, he said that we could probably fill it out before lunch. I didn't show him today. Yeah, I'll check this. Absolutely. Just like it and. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, you got it. It looked nice. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, you don't. Yeah. Hey, let me know if you want me to help you with that presentation. But and I'll be here for you today.
Oh, we do much less. I'm wondering.
Yeah, here.
Wondering if it's like a project on Facebook, whatever. And say what we're doing, say we're making a presentation. And then
And get some people is,
okay.
oh, and I can ask, some skateboarders or some of my friends to maybe show us around. Be in some,
Yeah, I think it'll make a big difference.
maybe Sean can come over and stuff and people like that here. Maybe I can ask my friend John. Or then I can ask Davey, he skates here, he's a skateboarder here. And a few people, yeah, at least a few people. 5 or 10, even 5 people show up. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
It's good to see you, really. I gotta get back to work. Until it's still here.
Hey, I wanted to ask you something. Would it be appropriate to put something on Facebook about the open in general, so introduce it to people before the council meeting?
Yeah, I think,
The thought I had was that I would put something out that sort of says, this is the general plan of what we're trying to do. Will be presented to council on this day, and then anybody wants to come to support.
so it's public knowledge that it got presented to this committee
Right.
and that we endorsing it, so I think you could do something on the Facebook.
Me, it's going to be public on the agenda for the council too.
Yeah,
So everybody will see it. A lot of people actually show up to those council meetings, I believe.
I don't know. I don't know.
I know that Deb Christie does, but other than that, I'm not sure who else. But
But
there's public.
Yeah, I think
People
it's
show
public
up.
knowledge now, so I don't see why you could not. Put it out there that we're moving, you know, hopefully.
yeah, we sort of say where we are and where we're trying to get to, kind of thing.
I wish we did. I wish the village was much more proactive about how they use social media, the village itself, not the information page, but the village and, you know, they could have done so much on these different topics, so.
Maybe get on the podcast board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I know, yeah, tell them how big your event center, your stage is gonna be.
Yeah.
That's a Greg.
But they'll get another chat with him. I'm pretty surprised if he's upset about it.
I think he's put so much into that little thing there that he's worried about, you know, somehow you stealing his thunder. I don't think that's the
At the
case.
same time, he was kind of upset that there wasn't more people in my event, so
Yeah,
which way does he want it?
yeah, I think he's contributed a lot into that, so.
I mean, I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers, so the point is to get a skate park, not a stage, so
Yes,
if that's not conducive to everybody, then.
call it a platform.
Yeah. No, to be honest, if we build stuff like a skate on the other spot, it would be great fans to play on the wet.
And you could just do one of those sunshade canopies over top of it, not a hard cover,
Yeah.
which would be still shade.